Hello and good afternoon. Welcome. My name is Kimberly Trimmel, and I'd like to thank you. I first off like to wish everybody a happy new year. Welcome, welcome. For those of you who haven't been in my any of the trainings I've done, welcome. So today we're going to be talking about effectively working from home. So, for those of you who've joined me, please take a look at the bottom. You'll see the opportunity to go ahead and give StreamYard, which is the platform I'm using this from. You'll see the ability to give them permission so I can see your posts. I love your likes. I love your little hearts. They're awesome, and I thank you for them. So, as we get started, I'm going to give some people some time to get on. Hey, good morning, or actually, good afternoon. Welcome. Welcome. So today is January 4th. Can you believe we are already at January 4th? So the first thing I'd like to do is say congratulations for making it through 2020. What a year, right? What a year. But you made it. So first off, kudos to you. Congratulations. I know that there have been a lot of adjustments that we've been going through. And I'd like to thank you for putting yourself first, prioritizing yourself. If you think about it, when you go on a airplane ride, they always tell you that if you need to put your oxygen mask on first and then give it to another one, to whomever you're with. Think about that. If you consider the fact that we had to get ourselves first straight, right? We had to get ourselves first straight in order to be able to function in 2020. Well, now here we are, brand new year, 2021. Many of us learned new ideas that we never thought we'd need. Last year, if you had asked us in January 2020 if we'd ever have to work from home, unless we were already doing so, we'd say, of course not. Why do I need to work from home? Because it was really not a regular thought. But now, today, we actually are finding a good percent. I think the percentage is like 17% of the work population. Last I checked, it may have actually gone up, are actually working from home. So when we think about this, what are some unusual things or what are some typical things that we have to get used to? Well, first off, my name is Kimberly Trimmel. I'm not only a licensed real estate, pre-licensed continuing education instructor in the state of Illinois, I am also licensed and certified with the John Maxwell team as a speaker, trainer, and coach. Good afternoon. Hey, everybody. Thanks for jumping on. Those of you who can hear my voice, come on. This is free. I do it as a value add. I really value the fact that you all, jump on my videos, you share my videos. So this is for you. So as I was saying, I'm a licensed speaker, trainer, and coach. I can even add international now. As I've been speaking in Ghana, I've spoken in Lagos, Nigeria. I've spoken in Ecuador. Who would have ever thought that this experience we're going through would have ever led us to have a broader territory, right? So we're going to spend about 20 minutes together, and I'm going to talk about working from home effectively. Working from home effectively. So what you're going to find out is we've had to call on new skill set that we've never had to use before, unless, of course, you were working at home before. So allow me to share my screen. And you should see, hold on a second. If all goes well, you should be able to see my screen. This was working when I tried it, so hold on. Bear with me 1 second. It was working, and now I'm not sure what happened. Give me a second. Bear with me, of course. 1 second, play from start. All right, so you should be able to see my screen. Let me see if you can. There you go. All right, so what we're going to do is you should be able to see as I modify this. Hold on, there's a little bit of a delay. So you're going to see in a minute, I hope. You should be able to see my screens. So far, I'm not seeing them. So let me just jump right back in. I did a dry run through. I'd like to thank my person that helped me, my IT angel. Here we go. Okay. So working from home effectively. First off, what I want you to do is I want you to take yourself back to January of 2020. And it looks like I'm frozen, but don't worry about me. As long as you can actually see the video, that's all that matters. So here we see the screen, and you might see it modify. There's a little bit of a 10-second delay. So if I'm saying something and the screen doesn't move, don't worry about it. It will be moving momentarily. So when we think about this, we think, who was thinking last year that we would be working from home? I know I wasn't. I was doing most of my work in the classroom. The rest of my work I was doing face-to-face in a setting when I was training or when I was working with a coaching client. So now what do we have to think about? Well, the first thing I want to make sure to do is I want to make sure to congratulate you for surviving 2020. I think it was probably the first time in my adult life, it's actually in 100 years, that there's been anything of this magnitude that we've had to deal with. So if we think about this for a moment, the reality is none of us have had to learn how to juggle at such a high space, right? We've been going to work, we commute, we go back and forth. We're used to that. We're used to the hustle. We're used to being able to go drop off and do our various chores, right? That's what we're familiar with. But let me take you back to March 13th or March 20th of 2020. That's when life changed. Now, many people, what ended up happening is that they didn't have the opportunity prior to work remotely. So we had to get our technology up. We had to make sure that we were prepared. We had to, if we had children, we had to make sure that they were managed and that they were well taken care of and that they could tell when mommy or daddy are working, or either of the partners, or a single parent. So when we think about this, welcome. I want to welcome you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you also for allowing me to try a new platform. This platform is streaming live both on Facebook as well as YouTube. So the beauty of this is I do it once and it goes most places, and then I'll probably post it to another source as well. It'll probably go up on LinkedIn. So I'm very glad and excited that you've joined me today. To be honest, you could be anywhere. You could be eating your lunch. You could be, you could be taking the mad commute between the kitchen and the dining room. I don't know what your commute's like, but my commute has gotten very short. Why? Because I'm teaching remotely. I'm training remotely. So welcome. I'm so glad that you've decided to join me today. So the first thing I want you to think of as we talk about this is I want you to prepare for possibilities. So to prepare for possibilities, this should change in a minute. At least I hope so. So if not, I'm going to describe the screen to you. But when we're working from home effectively, we want to lean into new possibilities. New possibilities. Gone are the days currently and presently. Gone are the days of jumping in our car and going to work. Now, unless we're working, unless we're out and about, the reality is that we are either commuting or we might be one of the few people in our offices. How many of you, you're at your office, but you're the only one there? Right. Absolutely. There's give me a thumbs up. I love the interaction. Lets me know that you're out there. Give me a thumbs up, give me a heart. That works too. But some of us are not myself, but some of us are going to our offices and we are actually the only ones there. So when we think about it, again, that's because of physical distancing. I think the most important thing that we want to keep in mind is, we might be physically distanced, but that doesn't mean we want to separate socially. Now more than ever, It is important to connect with our family and our friends. So now when we lean into the possibilities, what are the possibilities that exist? What maybe have you not considered? I know many of you are jumping on and off. That's perfect. If you can stay on, great. If not, this will still be up. But what are some of the things that we've learned during this time? Well, one thing that we've learned is from time to time, we might have challenges. Every now and again, we might have challenges. So now when we think about this, what are we considering? We're leaning into the possibilities. Lean in. Prepare for challenges. When we prepare for challenges, what exactly does that mean? Well, how many of us or you have children, small children, right? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a heart if you have children. What happens when mommy or daddy or whomever is there with the children, what happens when you try to do something? Feel free to type in the chat. What usually happens? All of a sudden, everybody needs you. Have you ever noticed that when you're not doing anything, your children don't need you? It's interesting. Well, they need you, but they just don't realize it, right? So why am I sharing this with you? You would think that once a child gets to a certain age, that they really no longer, need you as much. But the minute you pick up that phone, the minute you go to do a task, your child will need you. And that's when they want to play with your hair. That's what's happening in this video. That's when they were like, mommy, daddy, can we talk now? Can we spend some time together? These are loving and welcomed challenges. Loving and welcome challenges. The only issue is they're not used to seeing mommy or daddy at home, especially not working unless you've prepared them for that. So number one, think about when we're working from home, it can create an oasis of concentration and freedom. It can create a shorter commute. It doesn't, however, come without challenges. So case in point, take a look at the slide here. It's a child, and my guess is it's mom. Morning. It's a child, and my guess is it's mom, the child's mom, and they're actually working. She's working. She's trying to work, but her daughter, she wants to play. So when you're working from home, even though you have all of these possibilities, understand that your child's love for you is going to be more, I can't say more apparent, but if you've been a parent for any length of time, as I just mentioned, that your child will want to talk to you and spend time with you when you're doing something else. If you're doing nothing else and you're just sitting there, you're reading a book, they want your attention. If you're sitting there and if you're sitting there and you're watching it and you're watching a video for work or you're a part of a Zoom, that's when they need you, right? That's when they need you. So when you think about this, prepare for the challenges. Now you might think, well, what do I do about these challenges? What do I do with when my children want my attention? What can I do to make sure that they get the attention that they need? So where there's a problem, then there's always a solution. I'll say that again. Where there's a problem, there's always a solution. So when we think about this, what does this mean? That means no matter what challenges that you might face from working at home, there are strategies that you can employ and habits that you can create or recreate in order to ensure your success. Not only that, what I found from working at home is that I have been able to create a closer bond with my children. I'll say that again. I've been able to create a closer bond with my children. So today we're going to spend, minus the hellos and everything, probably about 20, 25, 30 minutes together. And if you're able to jump on and off, by all means do it. These are going to be some effective tips on how to manage working from home. not to just survive working from home, but how to manage and make this experience better. So no matter what challenges you might face when you're working at home, I'm going to share with you some tried and true methods that will help you work more effectively from home, stay focused, and not get overwhelmed. And you'll also be able to more effectively balance your work life situation. This will help with your success. So, number one, get your apps in order. Get your apps in order. So, what do I mean by that? You'll want to set up your technology strategically. And again, if you have a piece of paper and a pen, go ahead and grab this. You can write it down. If not, you can feel free to reach out to me later, and I'll be glad to help you out further on this. But get your apps in order. You want to set up your technology so much so that you have everything that you need. I had my IT angel that actually helped me with my technology today. I normally go live on Zoom, but today I didn't go live on Zoom. Why? Because I was reminded that in this StreamYard experience that I've had to learn, and I'll tell you, sometimes trying to get my apps in order, I start sweating and I start kind of like freaking out. And I'm like, will this work? Will this work? What's my backup plan? So you want to know that where there's a problem, there's always a solution. So you want to set up your apps. Getting your apps in order will be critical, because if you do not have the proper apps in front of you, the reality is you will not be able to effectively do the job from home that you are called to do. We all know that we want to be completely present whenever we're doing something, completely present. So getting your apps in order before you need them is critical. Getting your apps in order. Set up your technology. Ideally, you want to have multiple devices that enable you to work with all of your apps. So, for example, for me, I have a desktop, which allows me to see the presentation slides that I'm doing now. I actually am also able to, one moment, I am also able to, and I'm not sure why it stopped working, but we will fix that. I am also able to watch what's going on. There we go. I'm able to watch what's going on with my slides. So I've got my desktop in front of me. So for those of you working from home, and if you're anything like me, I was like, how do I do this? I've got my desktop in front of me with the presentation slides. To my right, I have my iPad. Why? Because my iPad is telling me what you can see and what I can see. So why is this important? Because if I didn't have that, I wouldn't know that at this exact moment, or that moment, a moment ago, you were only able to see all of my slides and you couldn't see where I was at. So number one, get your apps in order. You want to set up your technology strategically. Ideally, you want to have multiple devices, desktop, iPad, and then I'm using my cell phone for communication. So desktop, iPad, cell phone. Why is this important? Because I have people that are texting me, and I'm telling them that I'm live on StreamYard and making certain that they stay engaged. So that is something you want to be aware of. In other words, make sure that your phone and your iPad are equipped with everything that you would need. This way, if the need arises to take a meeting on the go, then you have the ability to do so. I can do Zoom on my cell phone. I can do Zoom on my iPad. I can do Zoom on my desktop. I am completely mobile. I had to shift and pivot, SHIFT, and pivot, PIVOT, when we came into the shelter in place stay-at-home order in spring 2020. But now we are going to win in 2021, because 2021, we won, we win. This is going to be an awesome year. And part of your winning when you're working from home is going to be this ability to have your apps in order. So put your computer time to good use. So when we think about our computer time, we want to make certain that once we begin working remotely, that we are considering all the things that we are responsible for. You can actually spend the time that you would have been commuting doing something else. Maybe you could meal prep. For those of you who are working on weight loss or weight management, perhaps you could work on meal prep. I've been able to use my commute time for working out. Sometimes I go take a walk run. There's a few parks around here. And what I do is, I go over to Evanston sometimes, and I take my commute time, since I'm not driving one way or another for an hour, sometimes longer. If I was teaching off site, I would have to drive sometimes an hour to go teach a class. Well, now that I'm teaching remotely, the beauty of that is that I can do everything from right here in my flex spot. What's my flex spot? It's my dining room. For some people, it's their living room. Basically, it's that one room that you've modified that allows you to be able to work from home. So I've got quite the work set up. Everything I need is here, and I thank God for that. So when you think about this, put your commute time to good use. What would you like to do? Would you like to work out? Would you like to make some more? Good morning. Would you like to make some more, or afternoon? Would you like to make meal prep? Would you like to play with the kids a little bit longer? Or would you like to get them situated on their homeschooling? Maybe you're doing homeschooling, or maybe you're doing a hybrid version. This will give you the opportunity to put your commute time to good use. Once you begin working remotely, you can spend the time that you would have been commuting doing something good for your health or doing something good for your family. Either way, win-win. Remove any distractions. I'm going to show you something that I have. I'll be right back. You can come up with what you think works for you, but I'm going to show you a way that I've used, and then you can decide what works for you. You can create your own. And I can even give you some other suggestions. This is just to add value to you. The reality is we're getting somewhat into the swing of working from home, but we could still use a little fine tuning. I just had somebody help me out with something, again, technology specific. By the time we really get this, we'll maybe most likely be back live where we were before. But let's talk about removing noisy distractions. You're going to want to anticipate distractions, anticipating them in that you aren't in your cubicle or you aren't in your office and everybody's doing the coming and goings of work, right? We're not there right now. I mean, you could be, but most likely you're socially distanced at work, which means you're not having a full staff at work right now. So because of that, anticipate some distractions while working from home. Whether your neighbor is mowing the lawn or shoveling their snow or having a loud conversation at Thursday at 9 o'clock or Tuesday at 11 or 12 or 1 can be noisy. So what does that mean? Maybe you might want to reevaluate where you're sitting and where you're speaking from, especially if you're online and you're live. Or if you have to focus. What if you're on the phone? Like I have different mics for different things. Here, this is what I use if I am answering the phones. This is a headset. There is a little bit of a delay, so I'm going to hold this picture for a minute. And what you're going to find, and again, there's a 10-second delay. So as we talk about this, if my words and my actions aren't lining up, then you know why. So I've got a headset that you'll see in a minute. The beauty of this headset is I can put it on. It makes it so whomever I'm speaking to, I'm the only one that hears them. And most of the time, I make sure that my surroundings are secure. It also makes certain that I can speak to them directly because it has a mic. When I go live or do a Zoom or do a webinar or a vlog, I have a different mic. And then I also have a lapel mic. So I want to think about challenges before they happen. So removed distractions. Think about how can you better be heard? How can you better be heard? If your children are getting ready for their day, your spouse, your partner is getting ready for their day, basically that could be a distraction. If it's not your turn to do that day, your day, it could be a distraction. So how are you going to manage that? Are you able to go in a room that you can close the door? Are you able to do noise canceling microphone? Are you able to, if you have a dog that barks regularly, what do you do then? So if you have a dog that barks regularly, which they do, what do you do in that situation? Are you going to have the dog barking through the entire time if you're doing a video or if you're teaching? You have to think about that. Maybe there's a room that you can make sure the dog has everything they need, make sure that they've been walked, make sure that they've been fed, make sure that you line your schedule as much as you can to support their schedule, or have someone else in the family help out. But you're going to want to anticipate distractions before they happen. And you want to be mindful of the distractions so you can be prepared for them. If you know that you have a newborn and they go down for a nap for a short period of time, and when they wake up, try to schedule your breaks. And yes, I did say breaks. I know initially your first thought, and I was talking to somebody this morning, your first thought is, oh my gosh, I'm working from home. That means that it's going to be easier. No, not true. I believe that when you work from home, you've got to up your game. It's no longer do things by rote anymore. Now it's like every single time you're engaged with talking with someone, the reality is you must remember to put your most professional self forward. Get dressed for the day. Even if it means from the bottom down, you're wearing something else, but from the top up, be dressed. Also, remember, if you stand up, like I stand up sometimes to go, well, not often, but sometimes I'll stand up when I'm presenting. I make sure that whatever I have on is appropriate for what I am doing. Why? Because in my estimation, anyone who's chosen to spend time with me could be doing anything else, but they've chosen to honor me with their time. So therefore, I should honor them with my best. So remove distractions. Try and think about what they're going to be before they happen. Now, you should be able to see what I'm going to show you. When I started doing webinars remotely, I created this, and I'm not sure you can see it. We'll hold it for a second. This is it's just an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And again, there's a delay, so just stand by. This basically shows, please do not disturb, webinar in progress. Love you and thank you. Now, why do you think I created this? If I'm doing a webinar and somebody walks in and they say, mommy, 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 although my kids are older, they're not going to say that, generally speaking. But if they don't see this when they wake up in the morning and it's posted, they're going to think I'm available to engage in conversation. If I'm teaching you a class, or if I'm in a coaching session with you and they walk in and they start talking to me, how is that going to put you as a priority in my life? It's not. And whose fault is it? Well, that would be mine. Why would that be my fault? Well, because I should have done whatever was necessary to secure my location. It is incumbent upon me as a presenter, as an educator, as a trainer, as a coach. It is my responsibility to secure my environment. If I hear outside noise, I might say, excuse me, and go close my window. Because I like to work with the window open. And then generally speaking, if I should happen to, if there's a fan or an air conditioner running, I'll ask people, can you hear that? And if they say, yes, I can, I'll turn it off. Why? Because this is all about the viewer experience. Whether you're watching me on a webinar or I'm coaching you on leadership and communication and goal setting, I want to know for sure that you know you're number one. So if that means I'm going to be warm for a little bit, oh well. So anyhow, remove noisy distractions. Another thing you can do is you can create a stop sign. You can, if you want to get creative, you could just draw a stop sign that says stop, and mommy, daddy, whomever you are, auntie, whoever anyone lives with, working, and make certain you have a family meeting. I cannot tell you how important the family meeting was. When I first shifted to working remotely, I had a family meeting. Why did I do that? Because I wanted my adult children to know what's going on. I didn't want my adult children to wake up one day and realize, hey, mom's working. So now they know mom's working. Somebody wants to come over, mom's working. I treat it no differently than if I was working live. So get started early. So what do we mean by getting started early? Getting started early just basically means that when we are getting started, go ahead and set up early before you have to start. I always start when I get up in the morning. I do my routine. I make sure everything's organized. But most importantly, I'll come and I'll set up my office. Why? Because I want to make sure that when I sit down to work, that everything is in its right place. I don't want to say, excuse me, unless my light goes off, which sometimes happens. But generally, I don't want to say, excuse me, I've got to go get something else. The only time that happens is if it's been accidentally moved. And I'll be honest, sometimes it's me who accidentally moves it. But generally speaking, I'm all set up right here. Why? Because that's my job. It is to control my environment around me. Why? Because it is a working environment. I have to give this experience the same respect I would give if I was in a classroom or if I was in your office training your staff or training your people. It can't be, oh, I'm home. It doesn't matter. I'll just stay in my PJs all day and it doesn't matter. It does matter, in my opinion. So working from home effectively is changing your mindset. Changing your mindset. Act like you're going to the office. Schedule your coffee breaks. Act like you're going to the office. I actually have a schedule that's very similar to if I were in the office. I actually take my coffee break at the same time. I make sure I turn on my computer before it's time to start so that when it's start time, I'm ready to go. If I have an appointment, I make sure that all of my reminders have been set out, and so that everyone is able to get the reminder, and that when it's work time, it's go time. It's time for me to be in my seat working, not in the other room doing something else. So create a ritual for starting your day. Use it to spark your motivation. I don't know if you've noticed, but working from home actually seems to help with mindset. Why? Because it's something that we can create, that we can oversee and manage. So act as if you're going to the office. Train your mind to associate your routine with going to work, thus preparing you accordingly for the day. I actually read an article. I don't remember where the magazine was, but I read an article that said that this has become the year of the entrepreneur. In 2020, people had to shift and they had to pivot. And because of that, what ended up happening is that many people started adding other streams of income to themselves, to their life. So basically, act like you're going to the office, treat it like work. Go ahead and leave the house. So what do I mean by that? I don't mean get up in the middle of your work and go leave the house. That's not what I'm saying. When I say go ahead and leave the house, depending upon the type of work that you do, you may find it easier to get outside in the nice weather and actually go ahead and work on your deck or your back porch. So go ahead, leave the house. But make sure that if you're leaving, your internet connection is solid. If you're responsible for being online and no one can reach you, that's a problem. So Depending upon the work you need to do, you may find it easier to go outside. And again, I've mentioned this delay a couple of times. I am going to work on that. But for today, if there's a delay, just hang tight. The words and my actions will get caught up with each other shortly. Social media can be a detriment. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, what if I'm online and I'm supposed to be working and I'm on and off Facebook all morning? Now, I'm not saying that never happens. I'm saying, what happens if it draws my attention away from what I'm supposed to be doing? So social media can be the detriment of your productivity. Your goal is to have the same, very close to, if not the same, output as you would if you were working at work. It can be tempting to browse social media accounts when you need a break. But if you're the type of person that can get sucked into scrolling and liking and engaging with people on the regular when you're supposed to be working, that can turn out to be a time suck, right? It could pull all your attention away from what you're supposed to be doing. This next one says work when you're most productive. This one, I'm just going to say work when you're most productive. Now, myself, I'm more productive in the morning, but sometimes I have to work in the afternoons. I minimize working in the evenings, but I'll do it as long as I've paced myself. But work when you are most productive. We all have different peaks of our day. Most important thing, you know whether you're a morning person or whether you're a night person. Identify when you are most focused and plan on working through that time. So if you know you're a morning person, get all of your appointments out of the way in the morning. Honor the time that you have with people. Put the stop sign up or something like that. Family members need to know when you're working. Now, stop is fine. As I showed you mine, it just says, please do not disturb webinar in progress. This lets people know, my family, that I cannot be disturbed. Why? Because if I was at work, would they come boldly into the office and say, I'm here, I have a question, Mom? Of course they wouldn't. So what we're trying to do is take the template of working in your office and bringing it home. Why? Because especially if you have little children, let them know Mommy and Daddy's working. You could even set up a little spot and give them something to do in a mini desk. You can get I'm sure maybe you could get a desk, maybe from Amazon, I'm not sure, or you could even set up a little play table so that they play while Mommy works. You all take a break together. Come up with your schedule together. Minimize the distractions. Try to minimize outside distractions. Things like dogs outside, trucks, loud noises, anything that makes a lot of noise. Make sure that you minimize it. I'm always listening to see what kind of background noise could people be hearing. I have a noise canceling microphone, but that, before I had that, I would, and still to this day, I check in with people and I say, are you able to hear me? Is there any background noise that you're hearing? And I want to make certain that I am minimizing distractions. If you need to make a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment, try to schedule them when you're not working, just like you would if you were working live. When you leave in the middle of your workday, make sure you let your teammates know. It can be difficult to find your motivation again. Try to model what you're doing as if you were working live in your office. So as we get ready to wrap up here, remember to take breaks. Remember to check in with your coworkers. So checking in with your coworkers every now and again, I'll message someone or they'll message me, or we are passing messages to each other. Hey, how you doing? How was your New Year's? How was your holiday? How's the family? How's it going? Check in with your coworkers. If you saw each other every day previously, it is a huge adjustment to not see your work buddies anymore. I even tell people, I miss you. I miss being on the other side of the divider. I miss being in the other cubicle. I miss your smiling face. How are you? I'm talking a sincere, how are you? Why? Because we have to remember to stay closely social while we're physically distanced, because this has been the most time we've probably been away from each other, unless anybody's ever gone on a 9-month vacation, which I suppose is possible. But most important, check in with your coworkers. Take breaks. Make sure that when you're getting focused in your work, make certain that you are finishing whatever that task is at hand and you're working, but remember to take a break. I have an app here. It's called Focus, and I use it. Actually, there's a couple apps that I use, but it makes sure that I take a break. Even if all I'm doing is getting up and walking around, I take a break. I get more water. I get a cup of coffee. You want this to mirror being at work, because if you get stuck with sitting down all the time and you actually never get up, first off, you're going to get a cramp. Second of all, it's not healthy. So when you're working, schedule breaks. Eat healthy meals and snacks. Watch what you're eating. If you're eating a lot of sugar, you're going to spike, and you might feel it more because you don't have the things going around you in the office. So eat healthy meals. Working from home gives you full access to the kitchen. This is good and this is bad. In the beginning of our stay-at-home order, back in March, April, I gained about 13 pounds. And I said, nope, I am not coming out of this stay-at-home thing the way I went in, because I didn't go in with 13 pounds. I just picked them up in the beginning of the month, March, April. So then I said, no, I am going to recalibrate. I'm going to get back on my program. I'm going to learn how to walk outside again, which is what I used to do. And I'm doing it again. I'm going to remember to go back on my eating plan. I'm going to use videos and I'm going to work out. So now I'm glad to say I'm like 3 pounds away from my goal. And that is awesome because I had gained weight. And so I've lost that and then some. Try a time management app. Set up your watch. You can use Focus. That's one of the apps that I was mentioning. So go ahead and use a time management app. I am going to work on this task for this long. So that is a way of considering how you might be able to manage your time. Go ahead and make a playlist. Make and use a time app. So when we think of our time, remember to manage it. You can do chunks of time. For this many minutes, I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to get up and take a walk. And even if it's around your house or around the block, around the house, probably if you're still quote unquote working, would be helpful. You don't want to make sure you can go back to work and you don't forget to come back. So make a playlist. Maybe you have a song that motivates you. Maybe you have music that you enjoy. You can play it in the background. It can be music of your own choosing. So make a playlist. Depending upon the nature of your work, you might benefit from turning on some background music or noise, especially if you're the only one home. So when you're thinking about making a playlist, put all your favorite songs on. If you need calming music, cool music that helps you out when life is stressful or when you get that one person on the phone that maybe isn't quite agreeable, then you have your go-to playlist. Say no to visitors. Now, this one, I'll be honest, this one was hard. This one was hard. Friends and family who aren't working or they're not on your schedule, all of a sudden, what do they want to do? They want to come visit you. It's their day off and it's not your day off and you're working. And they'll be like, I'm on my way over. And I'm like, no, you're not. Now, does that mean you don't want to see that person? Of course it doesn't. You most likely love and care for that person. However, you have to say no to visitors. If you don't, if you're supposed to be working, am I going to have someone come visit me while I'm working and chat with me? Of course not. I am going to be full on focused on my work. So, friends and family who are not working may think that they can visit at any time. You're going to have to tell them with love that you're working and not available. So, time's up. What do we do at the end of the day? As we wait for the slide to change, your time is up. It's 5 o'clock. It's whatever time you're off, 6 o'clock. What do? Don't linger and sit there and continue to stay online for work. Basically, it can be difficult to turn off work during or your work mode when you're working from home. Why? Because you're right there. It just seems that, oh, it doesn't matter. I'm already here. I don't have to, I don't have to commute. So when you think about time's up, give yourself clear boundaries that says my day's off, my day's up, my time, I'm off now, I'm on my own time. Go ahead and turn everything off. Turn off, shut down your computer, log off any apps, establish a healthy work-life balance. Stay vigilant with your passwords. So we have to be mindful that you are potentially targeted when you're working from home. So make sure that you have some type of virusware. Make sure that you have some type of ID protection. If you need any advice on that, I can help you with that as well. I can give you a resource. But remember that working from home can make you a target for hackers. Your work machine is incredibly valuable. So make sure you're changing your passwords. You're updating your firewall protection. I have an IT person that I work with that's truly helpful. And so stay vigilant. Now, when we think of this, I just want to say the resources that I've used come from from an Entrepreneur magazine. They come from blogs that I've seen. They come from other resources. And mostly I want to make sure that hopefully this time together has added value to you. And my hope is that you've picked up at least one or two ideas that you can use in order to be able to make your experience from remote working or working from home a lot more enjoyable. Now you've got your family and your friends on board. So these are some of the things that you can do. So finally, in closing, thank you once again for your time. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for allowing me to use this new technology. I'm going to watch the replay and I'm going to find out what, if anything, how off the 10-second delay is. Hopefully it's not that far off, but no matter what, I've been watching it, so you can actually get the opportunity to see it as well. So as you can see, working from home comes with many benefits, but it also presents a couple of challenges. If you have any questions, you can always reach me at KimberlyTrimmel@gmail.com, KIMBERLY, Trimmel, T like Tom, RIMMEL@gmail.com. Or you can feel free to message me on Facebook. Anything that I speak on, I'm absolutely thrilled to be able to give you information on it. January 12th, I have an upcoming Lunch and Learn. It's a mini virtual training on leadership based on John Maxwell's Learningship curriculum. It'll be 45 minutes. It is complimentary. And if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, just let me know. I know many of you are already registered, and I thank you for that. But other than that, please share your questions in the chat or message me. Have a wonderful day. Happy New Year. And if you have any feedback you'd like to talk about, let me know. And other than that, I'm not seeing anything right now in the chat. So with that, I will wish you a great day. Be well, stay well, and enjoy working remote. As soon as we get used to this, it's going to change. Okay. Have a great day. Thank you for joining me. Kimberly Trimmel here. My website is KimberlyTrimmel.com. My email is KimberlyTrimmel@gmail.com. I'm going to close out now. Have an amazing day. And thanks for being part of my life today. I appreciate you. And have a good one. All right. I'm going to stop the recording. Have a great day.